Rainbow Warrior here, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really pretty yet simple crochet shrug design. The best part is this pattern is very adjustable so that you can make any style or size shrug that you may want. So I'm going to show you what you need, and let's get started. For my materials, I'm using the yarn Caron Simply Soft in this gray color and a size USI crochet hook. Our first step is to crochet a gauge swatch with all the stitches that we plan to use in our shrug pattern. The type of stitches you choose to work with will determine the look of your shrug, and you really have a wide variety of options here. You can choose something basic and stick with a single crochet or double crochet stitch, especially if you're a beginner, and if you're more experienced, you can choose any type of crochet pattern or stitch that you want the look of. In my shrug, I am using single crochet, double crochet, and the V-stitch. And then after you have your gauge swatch, you're going to measure out how many stitches equal a certain amount. And this is really important so that you can get the correct width for your garment and that it comes out right on your first try. So after you get your gauge measurement, it's time to get your body measurement. You're going to measure from the back of your arm to the opposite arm, and it's important that you measure where you would like your shrug to fall. So for my shrug, for example, I just measured from shoulder to shoulder just so that my shrug covers my upper back, while if you'd want a big heavy shrug, you could measure from elbow to elbow, and so on. Now it's time to start with our foundation chain. I'm going to start with a slip knot and place that on my hook, and I'm chaining 60. The amount that you are chaining depends on the math you did based on how many stitches make up a certain amount and how wide you want your shrug to be. And if you're doing the same pattern as I am and want to include the V-stitch in your shrug, then be sure to choose a multiple number of 3. Once you have your total number of chains needed, I am going to begin my first row by chaining +1 and then beginning to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. We single crochet by reaching into our loop, pulling through a loop, yarning over, and pulling through both loops. So I'm going to single crochet down each chain all the way to the end of my foundation. Once you've reached the end of your single crochet row, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and I am going to start my second row of single crochet. So I'm going to again single crochet in each stitch all the way down this row, and I'm going to start off with 4 rows of single crochet just to give me a nice base. Now that I have completed my 4 rows of crochet, I'm going to do a row of V-stitch pattern. I'm going to chain 3 and turn my work. And again, this is made up over 3 stitches. I'm going to skip the first stitch and double crochet into the second stitch. We double crochet by yarning over, reaching into our stitch, pulling through a loop, yarning over, pulling through the first 2 loops, yarning over, pulling through the last 2 loops. Now we chain 1, and we're going to place another double crochet right into that same stitch. And this makes our V. So very simple. Skip the next 2 spaces, and we're making our second V. So double crocheting into that third stitch, chaining 1, and placing a second double crochet into that same stitch. Alright, and we're going to continue. So skipping 2, placing a V-stitch with 1 double crochet, chain 1, and a second double crochet. And I'm going to do this all the way down, and when I get to the end of my row, what I like to do is just place 1 double crochet stitch in the last stitch, and this way we have our nice borders on both sides of this V-stitch pattern. And I apologize for not showing that in the video, but that's what I did. Alright, so now I'm going to do 2 rows of single crochet after every V-stitch row, and we do this by placing 2 single crochets in that V-stitch and then one in between each V-stitch. So there you can see what it will look like. And this way you will have your same count of stitches. So again, I'm doing 2 rows of single crochet after every V-stitch row. And to end off my pattern, I'm going to do 2 rows of double crochet, just to help this shrug grow in length much quicker. So again, for double crochet, we reach into our stitch and pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through the second 2 loops. So I'm going to double crochet all the way down for 2 rows, and then I'm going to repeat this pattern. So do my 2 rows of single crochet, my 1 row of V-stitch, 2 rows of single, and 2 rows of double, and repeat. So yeah, this is a really simple pattern, wanting to show off the pretty open work V-stitch. You can choose to make your shrug with any pattern that you may want. So just be sure you repeat your pattern until you have the length needed for your shrug. Once you're satisfied with the length of your garment, we're going to crochet and edging around to neaten up this edge. I'm going to do a single crochet border, placing 1 single crochet for each row and 2 single crochets in the double crochet rows and the V-stitch rows. And then I'm going to single crochet along the bottom here on the opposite side of our foundation chain and back up on the opposite side. This way our crochet garment is just nice and finished on the edges. I'm going to place another single crochet in this last stitch here to help me turn around onto this side of our garment. And now I'm going to place, as I said, 1 single crochet for each single crochet row. And in the double crochet rows, I'm going to place 2 single crochets. Once the edging is complete, it's time to seam up our garment. We are going to fold our piece stacked on top of one another lengthwise. And then what we're going to do on each side, using the tails or another strand of yarn, we are going to seam up from the bottom as much as you need, leaving enough space for your armholes. Once both sides of the shrug are seamed up, the garment is complete and ready to wear. As I mentioned, the holes that we created are where you stick your arms through and you wear your shrug just like this. So I'm really happy with the pattern that I went with and the design of this shrug. I'm going to show you one extra optional way to edge your shrug. I decided to try out a really pretty scallop design, and again, this is optional if you would like to add it to your shrug. My yarn is still attached, however feel free to attach it anywhere on your project, and we're going to begin by chaining 1, skipping a space, and single crocheting into the next space. And that is how this large scallop is going to begin. We're going to repeat the pattern of skipping 3 spaces and triple crocheting into the next space. We triple crochet by yarning over twice, and then we reach into our stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops, and we're placing 7 triple crochets into this stitch. That's what gives us our large scallop. And then we're going to skip another 3 spaces and place a single crochet, and then we repeat our pattern. So we're skipping 3, placing 7 triple crochets, skipping 3, placing 1 single crochet. So very simple, and I'm going to do this all the way around my shrug until I get back to where I started, and I will slip stitch to join. Here we can see what the large scallop looks like. It is really pretty, and I decided to do a small scallop edge on our sleeves as well. Again, this is optional, and be sure to choose what you like the look of for your shrug. I'm going to attach yarn to my sleeve anywhere, it doesn't matter where you start, and I'm going to chain 1 to begin. I'm going to skip a space, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next space. Then we skip another space and we're placing 5 double crochets into this same space. This is what makes our small scallop, and then we're repeating this all the way around. So skipping a space, 1 single crochet, skipping a space, 5 double crochet. And here is my finished shrug. I am very happy with it. I love the design, and I think it's perfect for springtime, just to wear over, those tanks, and to wear indoors when it gets a little chilly. It gets warm where I'm from extremely fast, so you can look forward to more crochet garments coming out, knitting as well. I plan to make some tanks and tops and maybe some other little shrugs, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this pattern, and if you make this shrug, don't forget to share pictures with me on Facebook. I love to see other people's projects, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.